Welcome to another edition of the Sports Edge Podcast. I'm your host, Commissioner Dan Stanzik. Joining me tonight, as usual, two-time SEFFL champ Justin the Guru Eisner. Guru, you were demolished in the battle for the pod, a 53-point drubbing in which you once again left a player in your starting lineup who was ruled out, Brian Robinson Jr. this time. Do you have anything to say for yourself?
Well, I feel like I'm basically playing fantasy football at this point so I can come on the podcast. It doesn't feel like there's any other reason to, because it's gotten that bad. No, I mean, look, this is going to continue to happen. If they're going to keep taking people out of the lineup that are being claimed to be in, everything I read was should play, should play, should play. I liked the matchup. I went for it. He got pulled last minute. I'm on the ice every Sunday morning. This will keep happening. It's a shame that it's happened 2 weeks in a row, but I don't see an end to this, so this is not good. This is not good. My fantasy football career might be over. It might be over.
Might have to do a solo pod. I don't know.
Yeah, you might have
this one is much less your fault. The Cooper Cup one was announced pretty early. This one was a little later in the morning, but all indications were that he was going to play. He obviously did not. But we do have plenty to cover tonight, including who in the league is the most electable. It's going to be a fun 10-1 here. But first, let's recap the Week 9 action, and we will start with the Burrito Bowl, which was never in doubt. But Hoban did put up his highest total since 2022, 141 out of Hoban. Georgie Juice won, that's Pete's team. They scored 156, so they had a 15-point win. Pete has now won the weekly high in back-to-back weeks, which is a great sign for his future success. The last 4 teams to lead the league in scoring in back-to-back weeks have made it to the finals. And let's not forget that Walsh also accomplished this feat earlier this season. So for all you handicappers out there, a Walsh-Pete final would be a pretty good bet. But we need to talk about the Zay Flowers trade. We have to. This could be an all-time blunder by Curtis. Curtis is obviously the pod nemesis. We got to lean into this. Since the time of the trade, October 2nd, Zay Flowers is averaging nearly 16 points per game, which is number 2 among all wide receivers. Number 1, Garrett Wilson. That would be bad enough on its face, but let's remember that Steve also gave up Ramondre Stevenson in that trade, and Ramondre has played 4 games since the deal and is averaging, you guessed it, almost 16 points per game as well. Steve, of course, got a second-round pick in next year's draft in return, or as Hoban calls it, a 12th-round pick. Guru, the question, I guess, is this. Should I make a 30 for 30 about this trade?
I almost think the 30 for 30 might end up being about the season. It's like the end of season DVD for Steve, but this would be the intro, right? Like, what if I told you that everything was going great and then somebody traded Zay Flower, right? Like that feels like the line
Right.
that opens it. So the 30 for 30 might be about the entire season, not just about the trade, but this would be the key. It'd be the TSN turning point.
Is that the TSN turning point? Is that a reference to a Canadian broadcasting company?
It is. That is a hockey reference. The TSN turning point. That is
people use that. That's like a common term among hockey fans, and it comes from, I'm assuming, Toronto.
By loser hockey fans that are a little bit more into it than the average hockey fan. But yes,
I'm going to start dropping that one in my text conversations with Adnan Verk, and hopefully he appreciates the joke as a Canadian and a hockey fan. We're going to stick with Steve, who scored the fewest points in the league this week in a loss to the Sun God's Disciples. From our perspective, as noted Steve haters in the league, we love you, Steve, but come on, we hate your team. What is the funniest outcome for Steve's team this year? I'll give you a couple options.
I got a couple.
If you can go off the board here too. I just wrote these down quick. What would be the funniest outcome for us? Like, do you think if he lost out and missed the playoffs, would that be the funniest?
That was one of mine. I had slides and misses entirely. That's probably number one.
Yeah, that was my first thought. If he just loses out and misses the playoffs, that'd be great. What if he lost to one of us in the playoffs?
Yeah. My number two was Guru sneaks in and beats him because of our rivalry. That would be hilarious. Okay. Sneak in at a bottom playoff spot and knock him off. I think that would be very funny.
My third option for you, and you feel free if you have more. My third option, I think this would be funny. I don't know if it's the funniest, but what if Pete beat him in the finals and there were big showings by Zay Flowers and Ramondre?
That's good too. I'll give you one other one that I thought would be kind of funny. Hathaway sneaks in, beats him, and then wins the league.
That's just a joke, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a joke, right? Isn't that what we're doing? Isn't that what we're doing?
I still can't believe Hathaway never won a title. It's unbelievable. He does. I did text him this week. He's not out of it in the playoff chase.
No, that's what I mean.
I mean, he has a lot of momentum right now, and your team does not. So,
It's a disaster. It's a complete
He
disaster.
he is he is far from out of this.
To
So
your point,
don't.
that's what I was thinking. Like he's far from out of it. He sneaks in, he beats Steve. Steve's gone, and then all of a sudden he goes on this run and wins. Which obviously one of the jokes has been that he hasn't been able to win. So that would be kind of funny.
That's pretty good. That's pretty.
Yeah.
I think our answer, our collective answer, is Steve loses out and misses the playoffs. I think that would be the funniest outcome. And he does play me this week, so hopefully I can keep that losing streak or make it a losing streak for him, I guess. We move on though. Zans is back atop my internal power poll, which I don't reveal to anybody, but he is number one on the list, despite not being number one in the rankings that you see on the website. He made quick work of Robbie this week. Gibbs me more has now dropped 4 of their last 6 after a 3-0 start. One of 3 teams that are currently 5-4. The other 2 are Pete and the Commish's team. Of those 3, Guru, which team do you think is the most susceptible to fall out of the playoffs?
It's tough. I mean, it's pretty close. I was looking at schedules to see if anybody had a particularly easy or hard schedule, and I didn't really think that to be the case. Everyone had pretty similar opponents for the next bunch of weeks. I mean, I think I'll just say Robbie maybe just because of, I feel like you and Pete are kind of household names in the top of the ranking. So is it one of those things where you got to kind of lose out close before you go on that streak and win? I don't know. I mean, I don't know that anybody's overly susceptible to getting knocked out here. I'm not high on my own team. I think there's other teams that will miss. We mentioned a potential Steve slide. But yeah, it's close. I don't know. Do you have a strong opinion on this? I don't feel like
I thought the obvious answer, just based on recency bias, was Robbie.
yeah,
Pete
that's
has
where I was
finished first in scoring in the league the last 2 weeks, and my team has finished second. Uh, Although Robbie does have the most points of the 3 teams, he edges me out by about a point on the season total.
yeah.
So I thought he was the obvious answer, but obviously a lot can happen.
Yeah.
It's
It's gonna be a
hard to
wild
really say.
Yeah, it's gonna be a wild race to the finish. I sort of was leaning Robbie too, but I don't feel like I have any good data to back that up. It just felt like, again, it might be recency bias.
I
I don't
think
know.
it's just the last 2 weeks sense of the team.
Yeah.
But I agree. As we discussed at the top of the pod, the battle of the pod, one-sided with the Commish hammering the Guru. Not sure if you saw this, but I picked up Mike Gesicki on Sunday. It started him and Travis Kelce. Felt wrong. I have no faith in Travis Etienne coming off an injury, and my other option was another tight end, Taysom Hill. The 2 tight end strategy worked out swimmingly for me. Gesicki had 24 points. Kelce had 15. And Guru, I can't believe I'm saying this. I think I found religion. All signs point to me doing it again this week. Am I crazy?
The latest convert to the Church of Hoban, is that what we're calling it? You're scheduling sessions with Father Pat. I don't know what this means, but yeah, I think you might owe him an apology. I've been making most of the apologies this season, Stanzik, on this podcast, but I'm starting to think this might be you need to apologize for Hoban. There was something in this.
Do I have to change my team name to the Hoban Disciple? Is that where we're at now?
I think if you can do this one more time and get another win, until you lose with 2 tight ends, you might have to change your name to something like that. We'll come up with some good ideas. That could be a good segment for next week. If you start 2 tight ends and win, I want a segment next week of what should Commission's name be.
I love it. I love it. As I'm doing this, I now realize that I forgot to add a question about Walsh taking care of Kess by 8 points. Walsh is 7-2, top of the league. Kess is 3-6. He did score over 100 points again in defeat. Walsh did have Xavier Worthy score negative points. Not great from him. Anything from that matchup stick out to you? Puka got kicked out of the game. Cole Kmet didn't score for Kess. Not great there. Kind of just ho hum. Walsh marches on, still in first place. What do you think?
Yeah, and no points from Cole Kmet. I don't know if you just said that, but
Yeah,
that's tough. When's the last time somebody got kicked out of a game like that? Like that it had real fantasy implications. I can't think of that.
I
Off the
guess the
top.
question I will ask you is I'm not sure if you're a listener to the Bill Simmons pod. I do listen on Sunday nights. So I guess I listen on Monday mornings to his Sunday night pod where he recaps the week with Cousin Sale. And they are in a league where I'm assuming there's 11 members, but every year the winner gets to kick someone out of the league. So they show up for the draft, all 11 guys. And before the draft starts, the winner of the league the previous year kicks out whoever of their choosing. and that person is no longer in the league. The next year
So
they're
then,
back in, someone else
okay,
gets kicked
yeah. So
out.
it's a 1 year hiatus for
A
that. But
1 year hiatus, so I
okay.
assume there's 11 members. It hasn't been explicitly said, but that makes sense. So I guess the question would be: say you win the title this year, who would you kick out?
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. First of all, this has legs. I like this idea.
We need an 11th member. I don't know.
Yeah, and we couldn't do a keeper situation. We have to go
Yeah, it's
to a
true.
recap, but that's hilarious. I've never heard that before. I really like that. Who would I kick out? Oh my, I mean, right now I'd kick
I'm putting you on
myself.
the spot here. I like
I
this.
kick
No time to
myself
prep.
out. I can't put a lineup together. I'm losing every week. I got people that are not playing in my lineup. I think like the only answer is me.
Yeah, that's
I
rough.
would just
That's
become a
rough.
full-time podcaster about
Well,
this.
well done falling on the sword. I'll throw a name out there. Hoban's about to lose to the entire league. He won week one. He's lost 8 in a row.
We go
We
back to
love you,
Hoban though.
Hoban,
Like,
but yeah, I mean, come
let's
on.
go back to the top for
Be
Hoban.
better than this.
That's a tough week. 141 and
I
lose.
know. I
That's
know.
got to be one of the higher point totals in a loss like ever, right? That's got to be
No,
really,
I think there's been higher this season, if I
really
remember.
140 is a big number.
Let me pull up the chart in front of me here. I scored 139 in a loss earlier this season, so maybe it is the highest this season in a losing effort.
That poor guy can't get a break. The
Rob,
one
no, Robbie scored 141 in week 7 and
similar.
lost to who? 141. He lost. Someone had 156 and beat him. Oh, Steve, actually.
Yeah.
Week 7. Robbie edged out Hoban. So Hoban has the second highest points in a loss on the season.
The guy
It's not
couldn't
the
get
highest
together
ever.
for
I'm
weeks.
sure there's been higher. I'm sure someone scored like 150 plus
Yeah,
and
I'm sure.
lost.
I just meant I felt like it was
Yeah.
probably like pretty high in the rankings there. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
numbers. Yeah,
Number 2
tough,
in the
tough year
season.
for Hoban. He's having a tough year. Tough, real tough
And
year.
and number 2 on our agenda items today, what we are calling the electability rankings. So we obviously had a presidential election this week. Donald Trump regains the presidency in January. So I asked you, Guru, and I did this exercise myself, to rank the league from 10 to 1 in terms of who you think would be the most electable. I will read my rankings first. You need a little extra time to prep, get some thoughts together, maybe move some things around based off my rankings. Who knows? I'll just read mine 10 to 1, and then you can chime in whenever you like and then read yours 10 to 1. Number 10 for me, least electable, Dan Stanzik. As much as my resume as the commissioner of the league and as an author, speaking of an author, what came in the mail, hope you guys have all pre-ordered. Go to stugatsbook.com, pre-order wherever. Book comes out the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. There it is one more time. As much as my resume, again, as the commissioner, as an author, they seem like positives. My political career would never get off the ground because of my old He Said articles. We all know that. Maybe it would. I don't know. But I felt like I was an easy pick for number 10. For number 9 and number 8, I grouped Hoban and Brian Walsh together. They both golf a lot, definitely presidential. But America has not elected a bachelor since James Buchanan in 1856. So they are 9 and 8. Number 7 for me, Steve Curtis, pod nemesis. From Boston, lives in Los Angeles. Rural America would hate him. Steve's out. Number 7. Number 6, Justin Eisner. The old coach thing didn't work out too well for Tim Wells, Guru. So I think you're in the same bag there. Number 6, Justin Eisner. Number 5, Tom Hathaway. Great hair, tall, lived in 3 key states, Michigan, North Carolina, Florida. But his decision making when the pressure gets ratcheted up, very questionable. Back-to-back losses in the title game will do that to you. Number 4, Robbie Goodati. He is a lawyer. He is well-spoken. He is married with 2 kids, and he was the lead singer in a punk rock band. Also, my former radio co-host. I would vote for him. Number 3, John Zanzarella. He is racially ambiguous, which means he can fit in among almost all crowds. He's a strong speaker, has made plenty of high-level decisions in championship games, and he was recently chopping wood with an axe in what looked like the woods. Not sure if you saw this on Zanza's Instagram account, but I think that plays to middle America, rural America. So Zan's number 3. Number 2 for me, I got Matt Kessler. He's a doctor. He's a son of a doctor, former college athlete, tall, married, 2 kids. And he has proclaimed that he is making decisions just based off of vibes. So Kess, number 2, which of course leaves Pete Allen as number 1. Strong financial background. He's a CFO of a company. Tall, dark, handsome, former college athlete. Won plenty of championships both in this league and on PlayStation 2 in college. Loved playing the hockey game, that Pete Allen. Big Ranger fan. And his love of Senor Salsa would also win over the Latin American vote. I got Pete at number 1. What do you think? 10 to 1.
Very, 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 very close. Very, very close. So I went slightly different, and I just went with tiers. We talk about tiers in fantasy drafts a lot. So I went with least electable tier, somewhat electable tier, very electable tier. And here's the spoiler alert: your 1, 2, 3 was my tier one. I had a tier at tier one, and it was Pete, Kess, and Zans. That was my
Most electable.
most electable. So
Yeah.
we
Okay.
were completely spot on. First of all, and you nailed one of the things that one of my I mean, height. You got to be
Oh,
tall.
true. Yeah,
You got to
you're
be
out.
tall
You're out.
right
Yeah.
away. I'm out. Those
Yeah.
three you got to have the height. So I like them there for all the reasons you said. Doctor, finance. We got the height with those. So those guys.
Yeah. We got a pretty tall
Really,
league. I feel like, are you and I the short? Robbie,
you
you,
might
me,
be.
you and Robbie the shortest? You're
Maybe.
the shortest.
Yeah, I might be 5'8.5"
Yeah.
good day, pushing 5'8 3/4. Um, least electable. We had a lot of commonalities here.
Oh,
Uh,
so you're going most
Coming
electable,
back,
least
I just
electable, and
thought
then
it
the
was.
middle.
I came out with the interesting thing, which was that your 1, 2, 3 was my 1, 2, 3. So
Okay.
fantastic.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Now we've got a little bit of discrepancies, but I'm going to go all the way back to the bottom and go
Okay.
least
Okay.
electable. Obviously, pod nemesis Steve is on least electable. I mean,
Of course.
just easy. Right next to that, Hathaway. Too many wrong decisions over the years.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
time it's a big decision, it goes the wrong way. I think his track record would catch up with him
Yeah.
there.
That record wouldn't look good. Wouldn't look good there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Robbie. I had Robbie in this tier. I think that was a little lower maybe than you. I just felt like the lawyer thing. A lot of people don't like lawyers,
Yeah.
right? He doesn't get that
I think
vibe.
it's a respected profession. I put a lot of weight into the profession here.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of like lawyer goes out. You got a lot of people that don't like lawyers. They don't like
Yeah.
it. So I got Robbie in that tier. I got Walsh in this tier as well. You had Walsh pretty low. I didn't
Yeah.
think of the single guy uh,
Yeah.
side of it smart. That's definitely a smart move there with Walsh. I just went with kind of a masshole. When's the last time?
Yeah.
Um, all right, somewhat electable
Kind of a
middle tier.
masshole.
Middle tier. Now I had Stanzik, I had you in the middle tier, and here's why. I
Okay.
did think about the he said, she said thing, but I felt like could you get a groundswell of enough lunatics on your side to push you over the top, right? Like it'd be very controversial. You'd have either the haters of Stanzik or the lovers. Could we get enough lovers to get maybe? So I
There's a
kind
chance. Like I could lean into that.
think about the groundswell you had at Fairfield. I mean, you had
That's
people
right.
to kill you, but you also had people ready to lift you up and parade you, to Bellarmine Hall. I feel like there's something there, right?
Let the record show. I don't think I have ever been to Bellarmine Hall other than our graduation, right?
Well, yeah, and was there something there for the
Reunion, maybe?
yeah, maybe
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
close enough. Maybe the lawn of
So
Bellarmine.
yeah. So like while we were at Fairfield as students, we were only there the day we graduated. Just okay. I want to make sure we're on the
Pretty
same page.
crazy considering how small
Yeah.
the campus is that
Yeah.
you would never go to.
And you said it as it was like this most well-known area on campus,
It
and
felt
I was with
prestigious.
you.
It
It's
felt
like a
prestigious, like
prestigious place. Yeah.
you would be paraded.
There's
And
a
it's like,
Bellarmine dance or something, isn't there?
yeah, who knows?
Only the losers went to that. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Others somewhat electable. I had Hoban, and I thought Hoban kind of giving off that Connor Roy vibe with the
Ooh,
hair, you know what
the
I mean?
conheads.
Yeah, the Conheads. I could see
Yeah.
same thing with you. I could see like a
Yeah.
groundswell of Hoban people. A lot of people disliking him,
A Stanzik Hoban ticket. That's a
So I felt
surefire
like in
way to
that
lose an
middle
election.
tier, right? It was like you guys were it's controversial. So maybe
Yeah.
you could get enough people under your belt to move you over. I put myself in the middle here and I just thought like, what am I bringing to the table? I don't know. I don't feel like I can be very electable. I also don't feel like I can be very unelectable. I felt like a straight down the middle, like complete opposite of my vibe for you and Hoban. You
Yeah.
guys have like big discrepancy. People would just be down the
We're
middle.
divisive. We're divisive. You kind
Yeah,
of,
way
yeah.
like you said, way too short, way too short.
Yeah.
And then the tall, dark, handsome group, along with the back.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like that's the easy 1, 2, 3, no
Yeah.
question.
I think they know it too. That's
Those
what
are my
gets me.
tiers.
They know it.
Guys do
Those,
running back tiers. We do electability as well. Tiers.
it's a different kind of pod. It's fancy football and name
Not
only,
for
I
everybody.
guess.
Not for
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah, it's not for everybody. Not for everybody. It's very clear based on our viewership. We
Very
close.
few people. Very few people.
Not even everybody in the league watches this thing. Hathaway saw that I posted that my book came in the mail, and he was like, "Congrats!" As if it was the first time I ever saw it. I was like, "Buddy, I sent this in the email when the league started in the summer." Crickets.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than a couple times I've like it's been like not right away, but I'll click on the link. It'll pop up and say 0 views. It's just tough looking at. I'm like, it's been out for like 5 hours. Like, why are there 0 views? Tough.
That
Tough.
hurts. Are we the only ones to watch this?
Okay. Is this thing on?
Do I even post these? Why am I wasting so much time on this? We close with a Week 10 look ahead. And we're gonna keep it simple with the Week 10 look ahead, but we got a lot. It's a great slate in Week 10. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the way the schedule works, week 10 is all week 1 rematches. We've got a lot more on the line here in week 10. We have Zans against Walsh for first place. Probably the matchup of the week in terms of like standings, first round bye, et cetera, et cetera. Hoban, as I alluded to earlier, is going for 9 straight losses against Half. Half is the only team he has beaten. So Hoban is looking at losing to every single other team in the league consecutively, which I am sure has not been done since Bill Dwyer did it. So that is something that's on the line there for Hoban, certainly. We have an Eisner-Allen rematch that could knock you even further out of playoff contention. And let's not forget that Pete beat you in the week 1 matchup by just 3 points. His team is trending way up. Your team is trending way down. You both need the win, but you obviously need it more. Curtis, Pod Nemesis, gets his shot at redemption against the Commish. Again, let's not forget that I won our week 1 matchup by 40 points. A lot on the line there, especially as far as this podcast is concerned. And we have Robbie and Kess facing off in a battle of high school classmates that have both lost 4 of their last 6 and hoping to turn things around down the stretch. So, Guru, I ask you, of those 5, and feel free again to go off the board, what storyline are you most interested in week 10?
Well, it's not mine. I can tell you that right now. It's a disaster at the Eisner house. So I'm not even going to pick that. I mean, Zans Walsh for first place is super interesting to
It's
me.
big.
I really like that. Really, really like that matchup. I mean, whole band half. It's the hairball.
That's right. Oh, I forgot about that. Great call.
And obviously that is a hilarious stat that you don't want to be a part of. And maybe if he reaches that number, maybe we have to have Bill Dwyer on to talk about how that.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
I actually got a text from Bill Dwyer this week. This might be interesting to the pod community. He recently got I think he called it a like. I have no idea how Tinder works. I think it was Tinder works. He got a like from a former Fairfield University guy's ex-wife.
Oh, I thought you were going to say administrator, and then he said guy, and things were taking all sorts of turns with that.
So it was
pause you gave me there.
I believe he played baseball. If I'm not mistaken.
Go on.
Kaluch.
Oh,
baseball guy, Mike Kaluch.
Kaluch, yeah, absolutely, baseball guy. I know. We know Kaluch. Kaluch is a big was a big gentleman's cup guy.
Okay, yeah.
Kaluch, is this a recent divorce? I'm pretty sure Kaluch and his wife just had a kid. I'm friends with Kaluch on Facebook. Let's look this up in real time.
It must be. I mean, he was clear to me. Said Hinge. Got a like on Hinge from his ex-wife. So that's interesting news from Bill Dwyer.
Yeah. Okay. Continue as I check out the Michael Colucci Facebook page.
Awesome. Check that out.
Yeah.
And the interesting tidbit from Dwyer.
Yeah.
So, this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still see a picture. So maybe he got remarried.
Maybe he got remarried.
Yeah, he's still married. He's still married to.
Maybe there was a first wife.
Maybe there's a first wife. Okay.
Made it clear it was an ex-wife.
Not uncommon. Okay. All right. Well, good for Bill Dwyer. So have you chosen what your number one?
Yeah, I think it's Zans Walsh for me.
Okay.
Second place is the whole bad halfway thing's kind of hilarious, so I'm interested there. But it's Zans Walsh. This quick Dwyer Hinge update. You know?
Yeah, a needed update. This pod was a bit all over the place, but in all the right kind of ways. Guru, as always, thank you for doing this.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks again, I guess maybe to just you, Guru, for watching this again, and me it's just you and I watching.
It's like that scene in A League of Their Own when it's like, bring the kiddies to the park. You know, no one's coming to the games. Calm down.
All right. Well, good luck to everyone in week 10 except for Steve.